The first time my husband called me crazy in court, he didn't stutter,
Didn't hesitate.
didn't even blink. He said it smooth,
Clean.
lawyer polished, like he was ordering coffee. Your Honor, my wife has been experiencing severe psychological instability. Psychological instability. That's what he called motherhood exhaustion. That's what he called reacting when he grabbed our daughter too hard. That's what he called fighting back. I sat there in a neutral gray sweater, soft, harmless, non-threatening, hands folded in my lap like I didn't have a hurricane under my skin. Because here's the thing. When a man thinks he's cooking you in court, sometimes you let him. My name is Alara Bennett. I'm 32. I have a 6-year-old daughter who still believes monsters live under beds. She doesn't know one sleeps in the master bedroom. And I let that monster build his whole little case against me. Because arrogant men get sloppy. And sloppy men get caught. Gaslighting isn't dramatic. It's low-key. It's, babe, you're overthinking. It's, you're being extra. It's, why are you always so emotional? Daniel Bennett was the kind of man people describe as solid, stable, a good provider. Corporate defense attorney, tailored suits, clean haircut, firm handshake. The kind of guy judges respect before he even opens his mouth. When we met, I was finishing my master's in clinical psychology. I knew the signs. I just didn't think I'd be living in them. It started small. He'd correct my stories at dinner parties. If I laughed too loud, he'd squeeze my knee under the table, hard enough to bruise, soft enough to look affectionate. If Ivy spilled something, he'd glance at me like her DNA malfunctioned on my watch. And if I reacted even a little,
He'd sigh. See?
this is what I'm talking about. Like I was proving his point by defending myself. That's how I found the folder at 2:13 a.m. He'd fallen asleep with the iPad unlocked. Cloud storage. Folder name. Home stability documentation.
Cute, right?
Inside were videos. Me crying after arguments. Me sitting on the bathroom floor trying to breathe after he told me I was unfit. Me pacing when Ivy had a fever. Clips trimmed perfectly. Only my reaction. Never his trigger. Never the part where he'd whisper, "You think anyone's going to believe you?
Or
You're not built for pressure." He had notes too.
dates.
Behavior summaries. Emotional escalation at 8:42 p.m. Paranoid ideation regarding finances. Paranoid ideation. Because I asked why he moved money from our joint account. That's when it hit me. He wasn't venting. He was building a narrative. And I was the villain. I didn't scream when I confronted him. Didn't throw anything. Didn't cry. I asked one question. Why are you documenting me? He leaned back in his chair like I'd just asked about the weather. You don't see yourself clearly. I'm your wife. And I'm protecting our daughter. There it was. Not divorce. Not separation. Custody. You really think a judge is going to pick someone unstable over me? The confidence in his voice.
Terrifying.
He had already played this out in his head. I realized something cold right then. He wasn't reacting to conflict. He was planning removal. Ivy wore long sleeves in July. Texas heat. 98 degrees. Baby, aren't you hot? She shrugged. Later, while brushing her hair, I saw it. Finger-shaped bruise near her wrist. Small. Purple. Precise. My stomach dropped so fast I felt dizzy. What happened? She hesitated. Daddy squeezed me because I wouldn't stop crying. Everything in me wanted to go nuclear. Flip tables. Throw hands. Instead, I walked into the bathroom and locked the door. Threw up. Washed my face. Looked in the mirror. And saw something new. Not fear. Focus. If he wanted to play dirty,
Cool.
let's play. I started therapy. Voluntarily. Highly respected psychiatrist. Documented sessions. Clinical assessments. 0 signs of psychosis. 0 delusions. Balanced effect. Stable presentation. Paper trail. I installed new security cameras in the house. Told him it was because of porch pirates. He loved the idea. Thought it was smart. What he didn't know. The feeds weren't routed to our shared account. They went to mine. under my maiden name. Separate cloud. Separate storage. I also added small audio recorders. Kitchen drawer. Office bookshelf. And one inside Ivy's stuffed bunny. You think that's extreme? Try having someone try to legally erase you. You get creative real quick. I let him think I was cracking. I'd pause mid-sentence sometimes. Misplace small items. Ask him to repeat things. Not dramatic. Just subtle. When he provoked me, I wouldn't snap. I'd look confused. Like maybe he was right. Once, I whispered. Sometimes I don't feel real anymore. His pupils dilated. Like he hit the jackpot. He thought I was spiraling. Thought he had this in the bag. 2 weeks later, I was served papers. Emergency petition for primary custody.
Grounds.
Maternal psychological instability. He really thought he ate with that. I had 72 hours before they could temporarily shift custody pending evaluation. 72 hours. I didn't panic. I backed up every file. Daniel had a habit. He practiced arguments alone. In his office. Door half closed. Thinking no one could hear him. But the audio recorder did. I heard him say, "She exaggerates. She hallucinates under stress. She's emotionally volatile." He even practiced looking sad. I'm not kidding. His voice would soften mid-sentence. He was rehearsing testimony, like prepping for trial. And I was the defendant. That's when I stopped seeing him as my husband. He was opposition counsel. Family court doesn't feel dramatic. It feels stale. Old carpet. Muted colors. Quiet judgment. Daniel wore navy. Power suit. Polished shoes. Concerned expression. He testified first. Talked about my decline. Submitted edited footage. Explained he feared for Ivy's emotional safety. The judge watched me closely. Waiting for tears. Waiting for instability. I gave her calm. Measured breathing. Controlled tone. When it was my turn, I didn't argue. I didn't accuse. I requested the court subpoena full, unedited security footage from the home monitoring system. Daniel's jaw tightened. Just slightly. Because he didn't know those feeds weren't his. They were mine. The courtroom went quiet as footage played. Daniel entering rooms after provoking me. Daniel whispering things designed to trigger reaction. Daniel telling Ivy, "Mommy's brain gets scrambled sometimes." Then the audio clip hit. Crystal clear. "If you ever try to leave, I will make them think you're insane." Silence.
Thick.
Uncomfortable. The judge leaned back. Daniel stood up fast. Objected. Raised his voice. And that was it. That tiny crack. That flash of temper. That loss of control. Mask off. The judge granted temporary primary custody to me. Ordered psychological evaluation for Daniel. Restraining order pending. People assume that moment feels victorious. It doesn't. It feels like the calm before a storm. Because when Daniel was escorted out, he didn't look mad. He looked patient. Like this was just round one. And I knew something most people don't. Men like him don't lose gracefully. They escalate. And the darkest part? I was ready for him to. You think this was the win?
Nah.
This was just round one. He lost in court, but that night, someone left my daughter's shoe on my porch. Part 2 is where the game changes. Hit subscribe because when I tell you what happened next, you're going to need a minute.